of everything written about why your brain loves forgetting and how to use it to learn faster. The most important context keeps getting dropped from the main narrative. In a 2018 study, researchers found that, on average, we forget about 50% of the information we learn within an hour. That's staggering, right? You might even feel a bit of panic setting in. What does this mean for our ability to learn? Well, it turns out forgetting is more than just a flaw of our memory. It's a fascinating feature of how our brains operate. And it's not a bug, it's a vital part of the learning process that can actually help you absorb information faster and more effectively. Imagine you're cramming for an exam, notes strewn across your desk, coffee cup half empty, and your mind racing through facts, dates, and theories. After all that effort, you walk into the exam room feeling prepared, but by the time you sit down, the details start slipping away like sand through your fingers. You forget a key name or a crucial date, and frustration hits you. But here's the twist. Forgetting isn't just a sign of a failing memory, it's actually your brain's way of protecting you from overload. Our brains are constantly bombarded with more information than we can possibly handle. Think about the sheer volume of data we encounter daily. Social media notifications, emails, podcasts, and videos. Our minds are like sponges soaking up everything, but eventually, they reach saturation. This is where forgetting steps in as a protective mechanism. It clears out the clutter, making way for what truly matters. But here's the kicker, we can harness this aspect of forgetting to boost our learning. The phenomenon of forgetting is deeply rooted in how our memory systems work. The brain has two primary types of memory, short-term and long-term. Short-term memory is a temporary holding space, often referred to as working memory. It's limited. Think of it as a mental chalkboard. You can jot notes down, but eventually, they're wiped clean. This is where you might feel overwhelmed when cramming. Long-term memory, on the other hand, is more like a vast library, housing experiences and knowledge accumulated over time. To transition information from short-term to long-term memory, the brain relies on processes like consolidation and retrieval. Forgetting helps streamline this process. It prioritizes relevant information and discards what isn't necessary, allowing you to focus on what can be useful. Let's go deeper. When you study something and it doesn't stick, it's frustrating, but what if you look at that blank spot as an opportunity? Specifically, consider the method of spaced repetition, a learning technique that aligns with how we forget. This approach spaces out your study sessions, giving your brain time to forget and then encounter the material again. Each encounter strengthens your memory, making retention much more efficient. You're not just forcing information into your brain, you're creating a dialogue with it. Take language learning, for example. Apps like Duolingo use spaced repetition to help users retain vocabulary and grammar rules. You might struggle to remember a word, feel like you've lost it, but when you encounter it again a few days later, it jumps back to the forefront of your mind. This method mirrors how our brains naturally process information, giving us a more powerful way to learn than just repetitive memorization. Another fascinating aspect of forgetting is how it relates to our emotions. Ever notice how you remember moments that made you feel something deeply? The brain tends to prioritize emotionally charged memories. They're clearer because they stand out against the backdrop of everyday life. This is why storytelling is such a powerful tool in both learning and remembering. When information is framed in a narrative, it becomes memorable. Think of your favorite book or movie. Those moments that elicited joy, sadness, or surprise, they stick with you. The same goes for learning. If you can attach emotions or stories to the information you're trying to learn, you're more likely to retain it. This approach makes things not just memorable, but meaningful. Now, you might be wondering, how can you actively use this to your advantage? First, embrace your forgetfulness. Instead of panicking when you forget something, lean into it. Take a step back, revisit the material after some time, and allow your brain to reset. Incorporate active recall methods. Test yourself on what you've learned, rather than passively rereading notes. This technique forces your brain to engage with the material, reinforcing those connections and combating forgetfulness. Secondly, create associations. Use visual imagery, acronyms, or even songs to make information stick. For example, if you're trying to remember the order of the planets, creating a catchy tune can embed that information into long-term memory. This taps into your brain's natural inclination to forget, while also ensuring that what you want to remember becomes indelibly marked. Don't forget the power of community and learning. Group study sessions can facilitate discussions that help reinforce memories. When you explain something to someone else, You're also solidifying your own understanding. Plus, listening to others' interpretations can provide new angles on the same information, making it easier to remember. Let's put this all into perspective. The key takeaway here is that forgetting isn't the enemy, it's the ally in your learning adventure. The brain's ability to discard unimportant information is its way of managing an overwhelming world. By acknowledging this process, you can develop strategies that actually enhance your retention, such as spaced repetition and emotional engagement. As we move forward, remember this: your brain thrives on the ebb and flow of information. Don't fear forgetting. Instead, use that natural function as a springboard to deepen your learning. Embrace the moments when information slips away, and see them as opportunities to strengthen your understanding. Armed with this perspective, you've got the tools to turn forgetting into a powerful part of your learning toolkit. So next time you feel that familiar frustration wash over you as details fade, remember, it's just your brain making space for more meaningful insights. Forgetting, my friend, is just another step on the journey of learning.